Chosen one. Listen closely. Heaven saw the moment you chose obedience, when the easier path called your name. You didn't follow the crowd, you followed conviction. You didn't choose comfort, you chose character. You did the right thing. And though no one clapped for you, the angels did. Every silent yes you whispered to God became a thunderous echo in heaven's courts. You may not have realized it, but that decision shifted something in the spirit realm. The light of your obedience broke through the clouds of delay. And now, heaven's attention is upon you. You are not forgotten. You are not unseen. You are the reason heaven pressed pause on everything else to deliver this message. You stood firm when temptation tried to wrap itself around your heart. You refused to betray your peace for temporary pleasure. You walked away from conversations that made your spirit uneasy. You turned from the noise and said, "God, I just want you." That, beloved, was the turning point. That was the moment the Father smiled and said, "Now I can trust you with more." You may not feel it yet, but heaven has already begun to move in your favor. There are angels being dispatched to places your name has been spoken. Doors are aligning themselves to open before you, not because of your striving, but because of your surrender. You did the right thing when doing right didn't seem to pay. You remained pure when others mocked your holiness. You chose truth when lies would have been easier. And that obedience has written your name on the list of the faithful. There were nights when you wondered, was it worth it? Did I make the wrong choice? You looked around and saw others thriving while you felt stuck. But heaven whispers now, you are not stuck, you are being prepared. You have been in the workshop of God, being shaped for something that requires the strength of your obedience. Every delay, every silence, every hidden moment was heaven's design to make sure your heart stayed pure when favor arrived. You are about to see why God asked you to wait. You are about to see why the rejection had to happen, why that door had to close, why those people had to walk away. God was not punishing you, He was protecting His investment inside you. He knew that what He placed in you could not survive in certain environments. That is why the pruning hurt. But the pruning was proof of His care. Now, the atmosphere begins to shift. You can feel it, can't you? That subtle peace, that quiet assurance, that rising boldness in your spirit. It's not random. It's the evidence of favor. Heaven has marked you, and everything attached to your obedience is about to blossom. The delay you endured has built the character that will sustain the blessing. The isolation you survived has built the intimacy that will guard your anointing. You did not lose. You were positioned. The Spirit spoke long ago through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 17, verse 7. Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in Him. This is your moment to rise. You are about to soar. The same wind that once felt like resistance will now become the force that lifts you higher. Every unseen seed of faith you planted in tears will burst forth in joy. Every quiet decision you made in righteousness is about to produce visible fruit. This is divine recompense, heaven's reward for your hidden obedience. So hear me clearly. Chosen one, you did the right thing, and heaven never forgets obedience. The world rewards visibility, but heaven rewards integrity. God saw the text you didn't send. He saw the compromise you refused. He saw the path you turned away from. Every no you said to sin became a yes to destiny. And now, you stand on the threshold of divine favor. Lift your head. Breathe again. Smile, because this season will not be like the last. God is releasing grace to restore what obedience cost you. He is breathing strength into your weary bones and courage into your trembling heart. You are stepping into the reward of righteousness. Comment the number 777 below as a prophetic sign that you receive this word. Like, share, and subscribe so that this message of divine favor reaches every other chosen one who almost gave up right before their breakthrough. Chosen one. There are moments when obedience feels like loss. You know that feeling, the quiet ache after you said yes to God and everything around you seemed to fall apart. The friends drifted away. The plans unraveled. And the silence that followed felt heavier than the sacrifice itself. You wondered if heaven had forgotten your obedience. You questioned whether the cost was too high. But hear this now. God never asks for something unless He intends to replace it with something greater. Your obedience was not punishment, it was preparation. When you said no to what glittered but wasn't gold, heaven said yes to what is eternal. You turned from the counterfeit so that you could be entrusted with the authentic. You didn't just obey a command, you aligned yourself with divine timing. You proved that your heart was more loyal to purpose than to comfort, more anchored in truth than in applause. There were nights when the battle between obedience and compromise raged within you. No one saw the tears you wiped away as you whispered, "God, I'll still choose you." That whisper carried more power than you realize. It shook the realm of darkness because it was the sound of surrender that terrifies the enemy. Every act of obedience weakens hell's hold and strengthens heaven's claim over your destiny. The pain of obedience is temporary, but the fruit of it is eternal. You may not yet see what your yes has set in motion, but it has already rewritten your future. God will never overlook the steps you took in faith. He will never ignore the quiet sacrifices that no one celebrated. He is a witness to every act of integrity, every temptation resisted, every prayer whispered through tears. And now, the reward is in motion, not because you demanded it, but because you proved faithful when it cost you something. Listen closely. Heaven does not measure success the way the world does. The world measures what you gain. Heaven measures what you surrender. You gave up what you could see to secure what cannot be taken away. You turned down opportunities that didn't align with His voice. And though it hurt, your obedience preserved your destiny. You are not behind. You are right on heaven's schedule. The delay is not denial, it's divine design. There is a weight that comes with obedience, but there is also a glory that follows it. God is not cruel to test you. He is kind enough to trust you. He allows pressure to reveal purity, not to destroy you, but to refine you. The fire you walked through did not consume you. It purified the gold inside you. And now, heaven is preparing to reveal what obedience has built in the dark. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due time we will reap a harvest, if we do not give up." Those words are your confirmation. The harvest is coming. Every seed you planted in obedience will break through the soil in due season. Do not despise the waiting. It is proof that God is maturing the fruit before revealing it. When the time comes, what grows will not just bless you, it will feed nations through you. The season of unseen labor is ending. Heaven is stirring the soil beneath your feet, and roots long hidden are beginning to reach for light. The rain that once drenched you in tears will now become nourishment for your promise. Nothing you surrendered in faith will return void before God. You have not labored in vain. Every sacrifice, every prayer, every silent cry has been gathered in heaven's remembrance. God is aligning divine appointments and favor to meet your obedience. The unseen preparation will soon manifest in undeniable breakthrough, and all creation will witness the reward of your unwavering faithfulness. You may not have applause now, but heaven is standing. Angels record your faithfulness. God Himself is preparing to honor what you've endured. The road of obedience is narrow, but it leads to unshakable joy. You didn't lose anything of eternal value. You simply made room for what's divine. One day, you will look back and thank God for every no He gave you, for every closed door that saved you, for every sacrifice that positioned you. You will see how obedience became the foundation of favor. You will realize that the cost was never loss. It was investment. Chosen one. The price of obedience was high, but the return will be glorious. Keep walking. Keep trusting. What once looked like pain will soon be recognized as proof that you were chosen, refined, and ready for the divine unveiling. Chosen one. You have fought battles that few have seen. You carried wars within your mind and spirit while smiling through the pain. Every invisible struggle you survived was not wasted. It was holy training. The nights you spent wrestling with doubt, fear, and confusion were not moments of weakness. They were moments of transformation. You were being shaped in the silence, forged in the fire, refined through rejection. Heaven was building endurance in you while the world assumed you were breaking. You see, hidden battles are the proving grounds of the chosen. It is in the secrecy of struggle that destiny is purified. You learned to pray when no one understood you. You learned to stand when no one stood with you. You learned that faith is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward even when your knees shake. What others saw as your breakdown was actually your breakthrough in disguise. In those moments when your tears fell faster than your prayers, God was closer than your breath. He heard the whispers you couldn't speak aloud. He counted the nights you stayed up, asking, "Why me?" And in that question, heaven was answering, "Because I can trust you with this battle." Your warfare was never random. It was targeted because of the anointing you carry. Darkness recognized your light long before you did. And that's why it tried so hard to silence you. The enemy wanted to convince you that your battle was punishment. But it was preparation. The pain that nearly broke you became the birthplace of your authority. You don't just carry knowledge of victory, you carry evidence of it. You are proof that hell can't destroy what heaven has ordained. Every tear watered the soil of your next testimony, and every wound became a doorway for grace. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 20, verse 4. For the Lord your God is the one who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies, to give you victory. Oh, those ancient words still thunder today. You never fought alone. Even when it felt like the darkness was closing in, heaven's armies surrounded you. The same God who parted seas and silenced storms was fighting battles you couldn't see. You stood your ground, not because you were strong, but because divine strength held you upright when you should have fallen. Beloved, this is why the warfare was so fierce. It was proof of what's inside you. The enemy does not attack the empty. He attacks the anointed. Your light is a threat to darkness. Your very presence in certain rooms disrupts spiritual strongholds. That is why rejection came. That is why betrayal hurt. That is why doors closed that you thought were yours. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. God was ensuring that you would be preserved for the place you truly belong. You survived what was meant to silence you. You are still standing after storms that were designed to take you out. Do you realize how powerful that is? There were moments when you didn't know how you'd make it through the next day. Yet here, you are still breathing, still believing, still chosen. That's not luck, that's divine preservation. Heaven didn't just watch you fight, it fortified you through every round. Now, the season is shifting. You are about to see the results of battles fought in secret. What once drained you will now empower you. The same fire that tried to consume you has become the fire that fuels your calling. You have learned to worship through warfare and to praise through pain. That is the mark of the mature, those who can lift their hands while the storm still rages. Knowing that victory is already written, you are walking proof that God defends the obedient. You didn't fight perfectly, but you fought faithfully. You didn't always feel strong, but you never surrendered your faith. That's what makes you dangerous to darkness. Now you understand your authority. You know that no weapon formed against you can prevail because you've seen God turn every attack into advancement. So now, chosen one, declare it boldly. Type in the comments, "I am still here." Because that phrase is not just words, it's worship. It's your battle cry of victory. Every time you say it, you remind hell that it failed. You remind heaven that you are ready. You declare that the fire did not destroy you, it refined you. You are the survivor of secret wars and the carrier of silent victories. Your scars are sermons. Your endurance is evidence. And your story, your magnificent, painful, radiant story is about to awaken faith in those who thought they were too broken to rise. You did not fight in vain. Chosen one. Every hidden battle has crowned you with unseen favor. You are stronger than before, purer than before, and more radiant than you have ever been. The same God who fought for you then is preparing to reveal you now. Chosen one. Heaven remembers the tears you hid. The world saw your silence, but heaven saw your surrender. You didn't collapse under pressure. You bowed in prayer. You didn't let the bitterness consume you. You let brokenness become the birthplace of your worship. There were moments when you thought God had gone quiet, but his silence was never absence. He was watching, he was recording, and every tear that fell from your eyes was written into the archives of eternity. Angels stood near when you whispered, "God, I don't understand, but I trust you." That whisper became worship. It was the moment the heavens leaned in closer, the moment the Father said, "This one truly knows me," because obedience in joy is easy, but obedience in sorrow reveals true love. When your heart shattered and you still lifted your hands, heaven called that victory. When you chose forgiveness over revenge, mercy over anger, humility over pride, heaven took note. You see, the kingdom is not impressed by how loud you are in praise, but by how steady you are in pain. There is a glory in quiet endurance that shakes the unseen realms. While others looked for outward proof of favor, you carried favor hidden within. You were being prepared for something that demanded a depth of character only sorrow could produce. Your tears were not weakness, they were water for the seeds of destiny. There are angels who have been assigned to your journey because of your surrender. They moved when you wept. They guarded when you almost gave up. Every sleepless night became a sacred altar where heaven recorded your faith. You might think no one saw your suffering, but heaven wrote it down in detail. And now, those records of pain are being turned into declarations of favor. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 56, verse 8, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book." Those words are not poetic, they are prophetic. They mean that your pain has purpose. Every tear you cried in private has been preserved in heaven's archives. God doesn't waste tears. He transforms them into testimony. The weeping you endured in one season will water the joy that comes in the next. There will come a day when the same eyes that saw you cry will see you shine. Do you remember the times when you said, "God, I don't know how much more I can take"? Those were the very moments when heaven strengthened you most. You thought you were falling apart, but you were actually falling into divine hands. You thought you were losing everything, but you were being emptied so that God could fill you with Himself. Brokenness was never the end. It was the beginning of rebuilding. And oh, how heaven honors the ones who stay faithful when no one notices. That kind of devotion moves God deeply. There is something about the tear-streaked face of a believer who still whispers, "Yes," that makes all of heaven stand still. You have joined the company of the saints who conquered not by shouting, but by surrendering. You may not have realized it, but angels were dispatched because of your endurance. Chosen one. What you endured in the hidden place has eternal weight. You will never know on this side of eternity how many people will be healed, restored, or set free because of the story your tears are writing. Your pain is prophetic. It speaks to those who will one day walk the same dark path, showing them that light still exists, that faith still holds, that love still wins. So now, walk forward gently, but boldly. The heaviness that once surrounded you is lifting. Heaven is taking your mourning and weaving it into music. What once made you tremble will soon make you testify. You will look back at this valley and see that it was never empty. It was full of angels collecting your tears and turning them into evidence of grace. You are living proof that sorrow does not have the final word. God does, and His word over you is restoration, beauty, and divine favor. Your hidden tears were not wasted. They were offerings. They were the secret fragrance that reached the throne and drew the heart of God near. Hold your head high. Beloved, the season of hidden weeping is passing. The morning is beginning to break. What was written in pain will be revealed in power. Every drop of sorrow heaven collected will return to you as rain, rain that brings life, rain that restores, rain that testifies that you were never forgotten. Chosen one. Something unseen is moving around you now. Favor is not loud, it is like dawn, creeping softly across the horizon until the world glows with light. You may not have noticed, but heaven has already begun to rearrange the atmosphere in your favor. Conversations are shifting. People are remembering your name. Opportunities you thought had died are beginning to stir again, breathing softly like embers, reigniting after the storm. Favor doesn't always announce itself with trumpets. Sometimes it arrives like morning dew, quiet, gentle, and covering everything it touches. You've walked through the wilderness, but the ground beneath your feet is turning green again. The desert you endured is about to bloom. What once felt like delay will soon reveal itself as divine timing. God has been preparing the soil while you waited in faith. And now, every seed of obedience, every prayer whispered in silence, is about to push through the surface. You may not have felt it, but heaven has been applauding your endurance. You didn't know it, but angels have been clearing the path ahead. The favor you carry isn't the kind that fades. It's eternal, unbreakable, and undeniable. You've stepped into a season where what resisted you before will now recognize you. Doors that once required effort will open by your presence alone. Scripture says in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 9, "I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved. They will come in and go out and find pasture." Left. That is what is happening now. The gate himself, Christ, has gone before you. He is not only opening doors, he is becoming the door. You are walking into divine access, not because of your perfection, but because of your perseverance. You did the right thing when wrong felt easier, and now heaven is returning the reward with interest. Think of favor as a sunrise. It does not rush. It moves inch by inch, painting the sky until light overwhelms the dark. The same happens in your spirit. God is slowly revealing how much He's been working behind the scenes. The calls you didn't receive, the jobs that passed you by, the relationships that didn't last, they weren't losses, they were divine filters, protecting the purity of your calling. You are about to notice divine acceleration. What used to take years will now take moments. The waiting season taught you trust, and trust becomes the key that unlocks favor. There is no striving now, only alignment. Everything you need is finding its way to you, because heaven has declared that the time is right. And when favor arrives, remember, it is never meant to be hoarded. Favor multiplies when it's shared. Just as sunlight spills through open windows, grace flows through open hearts. When you speak words of encouragement, you release the same light that lifted you. When you share truth, someone else finds their way out of darkness. So, if this message has stirred something within you, if you feel that gentle confirmation in your spirit that this word is yours, then let your light stretch further. Share this message so that another weary soul can find hope. Like it, not for vanity, but as a digital amen, a sign to heaven that you recognize the favor moving in your life. Subscribe, not as a routine, but as a declaration. I will stay connected to the voice that awakens my purpose. You are not just consuming words, you are participating in prophecy. Every click, every share, every act of connection extends the reach of divine truth. Somewhere out there, another chosen one is on the verge of giving up, waiting for a message that sounds just like this. Your small act might be the bridge between despair and destiny for them. Favor moves like water. It flows best when it's released. Let it flow through you. Let your gratitude ripple outward until it touches lives you may never meet. This is how heaven multiplies blessing through willing hearts that carry light into dark places. Chosen one. The winds have shifted. The season of scarcity is ending. You are walking into a field ready for harvest. Not because you chased favor, but because you cultivated faith. You stayed. You trusted. You waited. And now, heaven says, it's your time. And so step forward gently, confidently. Favor has found you, and it will not let you go. What you lost is returning with interest. What you released is coming back, multiplied. The right thing you did when no one saw is about to be rewarded before many, like the sunrise. Your season of favor is inevitable. It cannot be stopped. Only revealed, and when light covers the land, everyone will know you did the right thing, and God's favor is upon you, chosen one. There is a quiet beauty in doing the right thing when it costs you everything. You know that kind of obedience, the kind that leaves you standing alone in a room full of voices that said, "Don't bother." Yet you still did what heaven whispered. You chose the narrow path, not because it was easy, but because you could feel the weight of eternity pressing gently on your heart. The world saw loss, but heaven saw loyalty. The people around you might never understand why you walked away from what looked promising, why you said no to what everyone else wanted, or why you let go of what others would have held tightly. But God knows. He saw your trembling hands and steady faith. You chose what was right. And now, heaven is aligning the reward that only the faithful can carry. Sometimes, obedience feels like burying something precious. You plant it in the ground, cover it with tears, and walk away in faith, believing that somehow it will rise again. That's what you did. You sowed obedience in a season of obscurity. But beloved, what was buried is not gone. It's growing, deep beneath the soil of your waiting. Roots of promise have been spreading. Soon, what seemed lifeless will break through the surface, radiant and undeniable. The Spirit spoke through the Apostle Paul in his second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. And you didn't know it, but each moment you refused to give in became a proclamation in heaven's court. This one belongs to me. Angels took note. Demons recognized your endurance. The enemy thought he could scare you into silence. But your faith became louder than fear. That's why your obedience carries such weight. It was birthed in fire and refined through warfare. Now, you are entering the season of divine unveiling. God is about to make visible what you have been cultivating in secret. Every sacrifice, every hidden yes, every moment you trusted without understanding, it's all converging into divine manifestation. You will soon realize that nothing was lost, everything was planted. Beloved, the right thing rarely feels rewarding in the beginning. It feels empty, lonely, and often misunderstood. But you must remember, this obedience is never wasted. What you surrender in faith, God multiplies in favor. Your integrity is building an inheritance for you that cannot be stolen. Your patience is creating space for miracles that require maturity to hold. Heaven measures obedience not by the outcome, but by the motive. You didn't obey to be seen. You obeyed because you believed. And that's why your reward will not be small. God is a meticulous rewarder. He keeps records of faithfulness like treasures stored in eternity's vault. Every act of righteousness has been written beside your name. There's a reason you didn't fit in where others thrived. It's because you were never meant to blend in. You carry a different fragrance, one that darkness cannot stand. That's why attacks came, not because you were weak, but because you were marked. You are heaven's evidence that purity still exists in a corrupted world, and for that, God is releasing favor that no opposition can block. Soon, you'll notice how things begin to shift. What resisted you before will suddenly cooperate. What felt delayed will move quickly. What was closed will open. not by your force, but by God's faithfulness. The same Spirit that sustained you in the valley will now elevate you to the mountain. The same power that helped you endure will now help you advance. And when it happens, remember, it's not luck. It's not coincidence. It's the unfolding of divine justice. Heaven is repaying you for every moment you chose, right when wrong was easier. The reward is never equal to the effort. It's always multiplied by grace. Chosen one. If this word is resonating deep within you, if something in your spirit whispers, "This is for me," then let heaven know you receive it. Comment the number 444 below as a prophetic act. That number symbolizes divine foundation, stability, and heavenly order, everything God is building in your life right now. As you type it, you're not just writing numbers, you're declaring alignment with heaven's structure over your destiny. You did not lose by doing right. You gained something that cannot be seen by the world, but is celebrated by heaven: honor, favor, and divine covering. And now, as the page of your story turns, you will see that every act of obedience was a seed that heaven never forgot to water. Stand tall. Chosen one, your yes was not wasted. The same God who asked for your obedience is now ready to release your overflow. Chosen one. Can you feel it? The air around you carries a quiet expectancy. What once felt sealed tight is beginning to loosen. The doors that seemed rusted shut are groaning open under the weight of divine timing. Heaven is in motion. You are standing in the hallway between endurance and fulfillment. And though you may not yet see the full picture, the shift is undeniable. Every step you took in faith brought you here. You thought obedience would cost you opportunities, but it created access. You thought isolation was punishment, but it became preparation. You thought silence meant delay, but it was divine incubation. God hid you not to withhold from you, but to develop you. What He has been building in secret is about to emerge in strength and clarity. You have been in a season where it felt like nothing was moving, yet everything was aligning. Heaven has been arranging divine intersections, moments that will seem accidental but are perfectly orchestrated. The same places where you once faced rejection will soon become stages of recognition. The ancient words recorded in the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 8, still speak powerfully today. See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. I know that you have little strength, yet you have kept my word and have not denied my name. Oh, that is your promise. The door that is opening now is not man-made, it is God-forged. No opposition, no delay, no human hand can close it. It has your name carved upon it, sealed with the blood of covenant and guarded by the authority of heaven. You don't have to push this door open, you simply need to walk through it. For too long, you have been standing at thresholds, wondering if you were ready, doubting whether you were worthy. But this door is not about worthiness, it's about faithfulness. God opens doors, not for the flawless, but for the faithful. And you, chosen one, have been faithful when no one applauded. You stayed when it would have been easier to flee. You believed when belief seemed foolish. You kept your heart pure when bitterness beckoned. That faithfulness has summoned the opening of divine opportunity. These doors will not just bring blessing, they will bring visibility to the work heaven has already completed within you. You will find yourself in conversations, environments, and callings that mirror your obedience. This is the season when what was hidden in your heart will find expression in the world. You are not chasing favor anymore. Favor is chasing you. But hear this, with new doors come new dimensions of responsibility. The same humility that carried you through the valley must carry you through the gates of favor. The same sensitivity to God's whisper that guided you through storms must now guide you through success. You are stepping into open spaces, but they require the same dependence you had in hidden places. Do not fear the unknown that lies beyond the open door. What waits on the other side is not foreign to heaven. It's been designed for you from the beginning. Every delay, every detour, every closed path was meant to ensure you arrive here fully equipped, matured, and unshaken. You have been built to stand in this moment. Think of how Joseph stood before Pharaoh after years in prison. The door that opened for him was not random. It was the culmination of obedience, endurance, and divine favor. Like him, you are being elevated, not for comfort, but for kingdom purpose. What God opens for you will bless others through you. Your obedience will become provision for nations. Your story will become strength for the weary. Your testimony will become light for those still trapped in the dark. So, as the doors begin to swing open, don't rush. Pause. Listen for the rhythm of grace. Step through, not with anxiety, but with reverence. Heaven has gone ahead of you. The path beyond the door has already been cleared by the same angels who guarded you in the wilderness. And when you step into new places, remember this truth: the same God who opened the door will sustain you inside it. You will not have to strive to keep what grace has given. You will not need to manipulate what mercy has manifested. What is given by God cannot be taken by man. Chosen one, this is not the end of your waiting, it's the beginning of your walking. Every prayer you prayed, every act of faith, every tear that watered the ground beneath your feet, it all leads here. The door before you is not a reward. It's an invitation to greater purpose. Walk through it with confidence. Walk through it with gratitude. Walk through it knowing that heaven is smiling, whispering, "You did the right thing. Now watch what I do with your yes." End of 2. Chosen one. You've often felt that time was slipping through your hands. You looked at others racing ahead and wondered why your steps seemed slower. Why doors didn't open when you knocked. Why heaven seemed to answer everyone else before you. But what felt like delay was divine design. You were never behind. You were being synchronized with eternity's rhythm. God's timing is not measured by clocks or calendars. It is measured by readiness. Every delay has been sacred. Every pause, purposeful. You wanted acceleration, but heaven wanted foundation. You prayed for progress, but God was giving you preparation. He was building patience, depth, and discernment inside you, qualities that cannot be rushed, because they anchor the kind of favor that lasts. What others gained quickly will crumble quickly, but what is forged in God's time will stand forever. There is a reason why you felt out of sync with the world. The world moves in cycles of competition, but heaven moves in rhythms of completion. When you compared your pace with others, it created anxiety. But God whispered, "Your story unfolds differently." He hid you, not because you were forgotten, but because He was refining the timing of your emergence. He will not release what He has not yet perfected. You see, divine timing protects. Had you received certain blessings earlier, they might have destroyed you. The relationships that fell apart, the opportunities that vanished, the doors that seemed locked, they were shields in disguise. God's love is often seen best in what He withholds. He refused to let you settle for less than what He designed. He delayed you so that destiny could develop fully. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Ecclesiastes. Chapter 3, verse 11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart, yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. Those words are an anchor for your heart. They remind you that God's timeline never misses. What looks like waiting from your view is actually weaving from His. Every season, you endured the loneliness, the restlessness. The longing was a thread in a masterpiece that only heaven could see. The delays were not denials, they were alignments. When you prayed, "Lord, I'm ready," heaven answered, "Not yet, but soon." That soon was not a rejection, it was a sacred preparation period where strength was being built, character was being deepened, and divine connections were being orchestrated beyond your sight. You may not realize it yet, but your delay was the very thing that protected your destiny from premature exposure. Imagine a seed pressed into the soil. It cannot rush the season of its growth. If it breaks through too early, the sun scorches it. But if it waits, if it lets the rain and darkness do their work, it will emerge strong, unshakable, and fruitful. You are that seed, chosen one. You have been buried, not buried to die, but buried to grow. There were moments when silence felt unbearable. You thought, "God, have you forgotten me?" But silence was God's way of shielding you from noise that would distract your purpose. He wasn't ignoring you, He was guarding you. You are like a star that shines brightest in darkness. He needed the night to reveal your light. Even now, divine timing is aligning unseen threads. Someone you haven't met yet is being positioned to open the next door. A conversation you haven't heard yet is being prepared to mention your name in rooms you've never entered. God is not late, He is strategic. He doesn't rush perfection, He reveals it when all the pieces are in place. When the time finally comes, everything will unfold naturally. You won't have to fight for recognition or force opportunities. The right people will see you. The right spaces will welcome you. The right favor will rest on you. And you'll realize why the waiting was necessary. It built the strength to sustain what's coming. So breathe. The delay did not destroy you. It preserved you. It taught you dependence. It removed distractions. It deepened your roots. And soon, you will see that the wait was not wasted. It was holy. Chosen one. Divine timing is not slow. It's sacred. You have been walking through chapters of refinement that prepare you for chapters of revelation. When the appointed time arrives, everything that once confused you will make sense. You will see the beauty of patience, the wisdom of divine pacing, and the faithfulness of a God who never forgets His promises. Keep walking in step with grace. You are not late, you are right on time in heaven's story. Chosen one. Heaven has been watching the quiet endurance of your heart. Every time you chose forgiveness over anger, prayer over panic, faith over frustration, you were being anointed in secret. You've been misunderstood, overlooked, even criticized for choices that others couldn't comprehend. But the truth is this: you have been walking through a divine vindication process. God was not silent because He didn't care. He was silent because He was preparing your public restoration. There is a crown that comes from enduring injustice without bitterness. You carried the weight of false judgment and yet refused to retaliate. You were betrayed, and still, you blessed. You were dismissed, and still, you served. That's the kind of character heaven can build a kingdom on. Your restraint became righteousness. Your silence became strength. Your humility became the altar where God Himself will display His glory. The storms you endured weren't meant to destroy you, they were meant to define you. The rejection you faced was never the end. It was redirection toward your rightful place. Every no you heard from people was a not yet from God. Every closed door was protecting the timing of your unveiling. You thought you were being buried under the weight of accusation, but you were being planted for a harvest of honor. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. That is your word today, be still. You no longer have to defend yourself. Heaven has taken your case. The courtroom of men may have dismissed your worth, but the courtroom of heaven has already ruled in your favor. Angels have been assigned to restore what you lost, to return what was stolen, and to rebuild what was broken. You will not have to chase vindication, it will find you. This is the season when God begins to speak for you in places where your name has been misused, where lies were whispered. Truth will now echo. Where reputation was damaged, favor will now overflow. You won't need to argue, explain, or prove anything. The fruit of your faithfulness will do all the talking. Those who doubted you will have no choice but to say, surely God was with them. Beloved, remember, vindication is not revenge. It is restoration. It is God lifting you to the place where the pain no longer has power. You won't rise to throw stones, you will rise to throw blessings, because the same grace that preserved you will now overflow through you. You are being elevated, not to boast, but to heal others who have walked through betrayal and shame. Vindication has a sound. It's the silence that follows your surrender. It's the peace that enters your heart when you realize you no longer need to fight to be understood. It's the moment when your tears stop being questions and start becoming answers. You've stepped into that sound now. Heaven is turning the page. The season of proving yourself is over. The season of being revealed has begun. You are about to witness God redeem every misunderstanding. The tables are turning, not by manipulation, but by manifestation. The very mouths that gossiped about you will now testify of your strength. The very eyes that rolled in disbelief will watch as favor surrounds you. And you won't need to say a word. Your peace will preach louder than your pain ever did. Chosen one, do not harden your heart in this moment. Keep it pure. Keep it soft. Because vindication comes only to the hearts that stay tender in testing. Bitterness will disqualify what endurance has built. So, release it all, every wound, every word, every weight. Let God do the talking now. And as you do, declare this truth in the comments. God defends me. End. Those 3 words carry power. When you write them, you're not just typing, you're testifying. You are aligning yourself with the promise of Exodus 14:14, acknowledging that the battle no longer belongs to you. You are declaring to heaven and to your enemies that you are protected, covered, and vindicated by divine justice. Remember, beloved, true vindication doesn't make you proud, it makes you peaceful. It's the kind of peace that cannot be faked or shaken. It is the quiet confidence that says, God saw it all, and He's handling it. You no longer have to rush to fix or defend. You simply rest, knowing heaven is already rebuilding your story with beauty where ashes once were. Chosen one. The battle that tried to break you will soon become the platform that elevates you. What hurt you will heal you. What shamed you will shape you. And what silenced you will soon speak of victory. The Lord Himself will fight for you, and everyone will know that favor always finds the faithful. Chosen one. Do you feel it? The fragrance of heaven's recognition surrounds you now. It's subtle, but undeniable, the quiet shift in the air when favor begins to settle. You have walked through fire and come out carrying a glow that the world cannot explain. There's something different about you now. Something luminous. Something sacred. You are walking evidence that obedience leaves a scent the earth cannot ignore. You may not realize it, but the world can sense it too. There's a peace around you that feels like morning after a long storm. A calm that tells every restless heart, there is still light. What you carry is not just personality, it's presence. The presence of one who has walked with God in secret and now bears His reflection in public. Heaven has marked you with favor, and that mark cannot be erased. The Apostle wrote in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 31, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" People may not understand why doors open for you so easily, why peace follows you into chaos, why your very silence carries strength. But you will know it is not luck. It is legacy. You are walking in the residue of answered prayers, in the echo of every hidden yes you gave when no one was watching. Favor has become your fragrance, and heaven is your witness. Think of a field after rain, how the earth releases its scent when the water soaks deep into the soil. That is what favor does to your spirit. The rain of obedience has soaked every corner of your soul. And now, the fragrance of surrender is rising to the surface. People can sense it, even if they can't name it. They will be drawn, not to you, but to the God who shines through you. Favor does not always roar, it often whispers. It's found in small moments, the unexpected kindness, the right word at the right time, the job that seemed out of reach but suddenly fits perfectly. Favor arranges what effort cannot. It orchestrates outcomes that feel effortless because they are carried by grace, not grind. This is why I tell you, don't keep this light to yourself. The same way a candle lights another without losing its flame. Sharing light only multiplies it. When you share what God is doing, you give someone else permission to believe again. When you speak hope, heaven extends that hope through your voice. So, if this word has reached you today, if something deep inside you is awakening, whispering, "This is for me," then don't let it stay hidden. Share it. Let it move beyond your screen and into someone else's night. A simple act of sharing can become a spark that reignites faith in a weary soul. And when you like this message, think of it as lighting a candle in agreement, a small gesture that joins with thousands of others to create a glow across the darkness of this world. Each like becomes a silent amen, a way of saying, "I receive this truth." Each share becomes an echo of hope, traveling farther than you might ever see. And when you subscribe, it's not about following a channel, it's about staying connected to a flow of encouragement, reminders, and divine truth that keep your spirit steady when the world shakes. We are, after all, connected like stars, each shining in a different sky, yet part of the same constellation of faith. Your engagement is not about algorithms, it's about alignment. It tells heaven, I want to stay where the light lives. Then, chosen one, you are not just a receiver of favor, you are a vessel of it. Everywhere you go, your story becomes a sermon. Your endurance becomes encouragement. Your restoration becomes revelation. When you share your light, you fulfill the reason you were chosen to carry divine fragrance into places where hope has gone missing. Do not underestimate how your small act of faith can ripple across eternity. A like may seem ordinary, but when done with a heart of agreement, it becomes worship. A share may seem digital, but when guided by purpose, it becomes ministry. A subscription may seem practical, but when done in faith, it becomes a declaration. I am staying in the flow of light. All fakes, beloved. Heaven smiles on humble hearts that don't just receive revelation, they release it. So let your life, your actions, your words, even your clicks become light in motion. Because when you help spread the message of God's favor, you are spreading the very essence of who you are, chosen, anointed, radiant, and unstoppable. Your season of recognition is not about fame, it's about fragrance. You were never meant to shine for attention, but for reflection. Every act of obedience has made you more transparent, more radiant, more ready for the glory about to unfold. And as you walk forward, may the favor that rests upon you overflow to everyone you touch. Like rain watering 1,000 fields, may your light awaken others to their divine worth. Chosen one. After every battle comes a breath of stillness. It's subtle at first, like the soft exhale after a long cry, or the quiet calm after thunder fades. That's where you are now, the edge of exhaustion and the dawn of renewal. You've carried the weight of spiritual war, fought unseen forces, and endured heartbreaks that tried to hollow you out. Yet, through it all, you never let go of God's hand. And because you refuse to break, heaven is leading you into rest. This rest is not laziness or retreat, it's restoration. The kind of peace that doesn't just soothe the body, but rebuilds the soul. The storms you endured have left their mark, but they've also carved deep wells of wisdom within you. You are not who you were before the battle began. You are more discerning now, more aware, more anchored in truth. You've learned that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it simply endures in silence. Rest is not a reward, it's a divine rhythm. Even creation breathes in cycles. Night follows day. Winter follows harvest. Silence follows song. You've been through your season of labor. Now heaven invites you to exhale. Let the noise settle. Let the pressure dissolve. You don't need to prove anything anymore. The fact that you're still standing is proof enough. The word of the Lord through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 26, verse 3, reminds us, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you." Think of a field after harvest. The soil that once bore weight and labor now lies open to the sky, soaking in sunlight, preparing for the next season. That's what God is doing in you. He's allowing your heart to breathe again, to absorb new strength before the next assignment begins. You don't need to rush ahead or reach for what's next. The shepherd who guided you through the valley is now leading you beside still waters. Your rest is part of your obedience. It's easy to obey when God says, "Go." But true maturity comes when you obey, when He says, "Be still." Rest is an act of trust, it says. God, I believe you are working, even when I'm not. You don't need to carry everything anymore. The one who fought beside you is now fighting for you. The one who sustained you in battle will sustain you in peace. This rest will look different. It's not just the absence of warfare, it's the presence of wholeness. You'll find yourself laughing again, sleeping deeply again, smiling without explanation. The heaviness will lift, not all at once, but layer by layer, until joy becomes your default language again. The sharp edges of past pain will soften into wisdom. The memories that once made you flinch will now make you worship. Chosen one. This rest is also renewal. God is not just healing what was broken, He's upgrading what remains. New dreams will begin to stir. Fresh revelation will flow. The voice of God will sound clearer, not because He speaks louder, but because your spirit is finally quiet enough to listen. You'll start to notice the gentle nudges again, the soft direction of the Holy Spirit leading you into new beginnings. Rest doesn't mean inactivity, it means alignment. It's the state where your heart beats in rhythm with heaven, where worry is replaced by wonder, striving by surrender, and exhaustion by expectancy. You are entering that rhythm now. The chaos that once defined your days will fade into divine order. The same God who allowed the shaking is now establishing you on unshakable ground. And as you rest, creation will respond. You'll find peace in small things, the warmth of the morning sun, the whisper of wind through leaves, the smile of a stranger. Every piece of creation will remind you that God is near, that you are safe, and that all is being made new. Beloved, rest is not the end, it's preparation. You are being readied for the next wave of purpose. Before God sends you again, He must first strengthen your heart. Don't rush the stillness. Don't despise the quiet. It's in this peace that your vision will sharpen and your anointing will deepen. So, breathe. Let your shoulders drop. Let your spirit settle into the rhythm of grace. The war is over for now, and heaven is singing over you. You've earned this stillness not through victory, but through faithfulness. The world calls it recovery. Heaven calls it renewal. Chosen one. Rest in His arms. The same hands that carried you through the storm now cradle you in peace. You are safe. You are loved. And you are being made whole again. Chosen one. Do you feel the shift? It's like standing beside a river that's just begun to overflow its banks quietly at first, then suddenly unstoppable. That's what divine favor does. It starts as a whisper, then turns into a flood. What once trickled slowly is now about to rush. You are stepping into overflow, into the abundance that obedience built. You waited when others ran ahead. You sowed when others mocked. You gave when you didn't have much to give. You stayed true even when you couldn't see a return. But the God who sees in secret rewards in abundance. This is not random. This is not coincidence. This is recompense, divine repayment with interest. Heaven has remembered your seeds, every prayer, every act of kindness, every quiet sacrifice. They were all recorded, multiplied, and now released back toward you. You're not being blessed because of luck. You're being blessed because of legacy. Favor has found you because you've proven trustworthy with little, and now heaven is releasing much. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 6, verse 38, "Give, and it will be given to you, a good measure, pressed down, shaken together and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." Those words are the law of divine reciprocity, the eternal truth that generosity always returns, multiplied. What you gave in faith, heaven returns in fullness. But here's the wonder. The return rarely looks like the seed. You sowed tears, and now you're about to reap joy. You gave encouragement, and now peace is flooding your mind. You shared love, and now favor is chasing you down. The same God who carried you through scarcity is now ushering you into surplus. But this abundance is not for pride, it's for purpose. God trusts you to steward the overflow. You'll become a conduit, not a container. The blessings won't stop with you, they'll flow through you. The same way a river doesn't drink its own water. You will refresh others from the abundance that now overflows your cup. There will be moments in the days ahead when you'll feel unworthy of the favor being released. You'll look at the open doors, the unexpected kindness, the sudden breakthroughs, and you'll whisper, "Why me, Lord?" And heaven will answer, "Because you stayed when others quit, because you gave when it hurt, because you believed when no one else did." Overflow is never random. It's always rooted in obedience. God can trust a heart that remains soft, even when stretched. That's why you're being entrusted with this next level of favor. It's not just about increase, it's about influence. You're being positioned to carry light into higher places, to represent heaven in rooms where compromise once reigned. And understand this, overflow is not limited to wealth or possessions. It's wholeness. It's laughter returning where grief once lived. It's creativity blossoming where discouragement once stood. It's joy that doesn't depend on circumstance. It's peace that doesn't waver under pressure. It's waking up each morning with the quiet certainty that you are exactly where God wants you to be. There was a time when you prayed just to survive the day. Now you're about to thrive in ways you didn't dare imagine. The hands that once held fragments will now hold fulfillment. The heart that once carried heaviness will now carry harvest. This is the divine exchange of the faithful. Ashes for beauty, scarcity for overflow, waiting for winning. Beloved, when this flood of blessing begins to rise, remember your posture. Keep your hands open. Gratitude keeps the river flowing. Pride dams it up. You will never have to chase what heaven has already assigned to find you. The blessings will come to you quietly at first. Then, all at once, like waves rolling onto a shore that cannot resist them. If this word touches something deep within you, if your spirit stirs with that gentle awareness that says, "Yes, this is my time," then make a prophetic act right where you are. Comment the number 333 below. That number symbolizes divine completion, alignment with heaven's order, and the fullness of God's promises coming to pass. When you type it, you're declaring, "I receive my overflow. I align with heaven's timing. I step into divine abundance." Let that declaration rise from your spirit, because you're not just writing digits, you're releasing agreement. You're telling heaven that you're ready for the floodgates to open, ready for the season of just enough to give way to more than enough. Chosen one. Your obedience built this. Your faith invited this. Your consistency protected this. Now, stand in the flow. The same rain that once fell as tears will now pour as blessing. The drought is over, and the flood of favor has begun. Chosen one. Your life is not merely a story, it's a testimony being written by divine hands. Every chapter, even the painful ones, carry purpose. Every scar on your heart, every storm you've survived, every why that was never answered, each is a line in heaven's manuscript about endurance and grace. You are a walking testimony of what happens when surrender meets faith. There was a time when you questioned whether the struggle would ever make sense. You looked at the shattered pieces of your plans and wondered how anything beautiful could be built from them. But now, as the dust begins to settle, you can see what heaven was doing all along. The same moments that once made you cry are now becoming the foundation of your calling. The broken pieces have turned into the mosaic of your message. You didn't just survive, you transformed. You learned to find meaning in the mess, beauty in the ashes, peace in the pause. Your very survival is proof that grace is real and that faith works. The people who once pitied you will soon draw strength from your story. You have become living evidence that God doesn't waste pain, He repurposes it. The Apostle reminds us in his second letter to the Corinthians. Chapter 1, verse 4. He comforts us in all our troubles so that we can comfort others. When they are troubled, we will be able to give them the same comfort God has given us. That verse is the blueprint of your life now. You are not merely healed, you are a healer. You are not just delivered, you are a deliverer. The same comfort that restored you will now flow through you to others who are still walking through their storms. Heaven has assigned your story as medicine for broken hearts. Think of it this way. Your scars are not signs of defeat, they are signatures of victory. Every mark is evidence that you've been through something that could have ended you, but didn't. The enemy tried to bury you, but God turned the burial into a planting. And now, what grew from that soil is stronger than what ever stood there before. You are no longer the same person who entered the storm. You came out refined, renewed, reborn, chosen one. Your testimony carries weight. It's not just for you, it's for generations after you. There are people you haven't even met yet whose freedom is tied to your obedience. When you speak your truth, when you share your story, chains break in places you can't see. Your pain purchased perspective that others desperately need. Do not hide what God has healed. The world needs to see what restoration looks like. They need to see that redemption is not just a verse, it's a reality. You are that reality. Your life is a living sermon. Every time you choose joy, heaven preaches through you. Every time you forgive, grace speaks louder. Every time you rise again, resurrection becomes visible on earth. Your story carries power because it carries both suffering and glory. People don't relate to perfection. They relate to scars that still shine. That's why your vulnerability is holy. When you open up about what you've been through, you create space for others to see themselves and find hope. You remind them that the valley is not the end, it's the proving ground of destiny. And in this new season, God will begin to position you in places where your voice will heal others. Not because you're flawless, but because you're familiar with brokenness. You will speak words that pierce through despair because you've lived on both sides of pain. You will comfort those who cry in silence because you once cried there too. That's what chosen ones do. They turn their wounds into weapons of light. You may not know it yet, but every time you tell your story, heaven leans in. Angels rejoice over the testimony of a soul that refused to give up. Even now, your words are stirring courage in hearts you'll never meet, reminding them that survival is possible, that faith still works, and that God still restores. There is no shame in what you've endured. The valley you walked through was not punishment, it was preparation. The fire you survived was not destruction, it was refinement. You are proof that resurrection is not just for Jesus, it's for every child of God who refuses to let pain define them. So, walk tall. Chosen one, let your scars shine in the light. Let your story flow freely, because someone, somewhere, needs the reminder that beauty can rise from ashes, that purpose can be born from pain, and that faith still finds its way through fire. Your life is the sermon. Heaven is preaching right now. And with every breath, every step, every word you are declaring to the world, God still restores. God still redeems. God still reigns. Chosen one. Every season you have walked through has been building something eternal within you. The weight you carried, the tears you shed, the prayers that seemed unanswered, all of it has been shaping a strength that cannot be shaken. You've reached a point now where what once broke you no longer moves you. That's not numbness, it's maturity. You've learned that peace doesn't come from the absence of pressure, but from the presence of purpose. God has been clothing you in something invisible but powerful authority. It's not the kind of authority that demands attention or raises its voice. It's the quiet kind that comes from endurance, from purity, from consistency when no one is watching. You have proven to heaven that you can be trusted with power because you have learned to bow before using it. There is a mantle resting upon you now. It's woven from threads of faithfulness, humility, and surrender. You didn't earn it through performance. You received it through perseverance. While others sought platforms, you sought presence. While others chased recognition, you chased righteousness. That's why this mantle fits you. It was custom-made through your obedience. We are reminded through the words in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 3 and 4. Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor and a good name in the sight of God and man. Now, this is not just a verse, it's your reflection. Love and faithfulness have become your armor. They have guarded you in seasons of rejection and protected your heart in moments of misunderstanding. You refused to harden. You refused to compromise. You chose mercy when vengeance was easier. And because of that, heaven has marked you for divine influence. Chosen one. A mantle is not just a symbol, it's a calling. It carries responsibility. It means you now stand as an example, as a beacon of integrity in a world of compromise. The weight you feel at times is not pressure, it's purpose, settling upon your shoulders. You carry something that will outlive you. Your choices now echo in eternity. The grace that covers you is not ordinary, it's generational. God is calling you to walk differently in this new season. The mantle requires a posture of quiet strength. You will speak less, but your words will carry more weight. You will move slower, but your steps will create greater impact. You will no longer need to chase opportunities. They will come searching for the voice of authority you carry. But remember this, mantles attract both favor and resistance. The greater your calling, the greater the testing. The same fire that forges gold also exposes impurities. Do not be discouraged when new trials come. They are simply heaven's way of increasing your capacity. Every challenge that approaches you now is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to reveal what's inside you. This new authority does not make you better than others. It makes you responsible for them. The true mark of divine leadership is servanthood. God is positioning you to lift others higher, to see potential where others see problems, to nurture destiny in those who feel forgotten. Your words will carry healing. Your presence will bring calm. You are not just called to speak truth. You are called to embody it. The mantle of the faithful is not loud, but it is luminous. It doesn't shine to be seen. It shines to lead. Wherever you go, the atmosphere will shift. People won't always understand what they feel around you, but they will sense peace, clarity, and conviction. That is the anointing you now carry, the ability to make heaven tangible on earth. Chosen one, do not fear the weight of this new season. The same God who gave you the mantle will strengthen your shoulders to carry it. The oil that anointed you in the secret place will sustain you in the public one. What you once carried in silence will soon speak through your influence. This is your moment to walk in quiet power, to lead by example, to love relentlessly, and to serve without seeking applause. Every act of humility will amplify heaven's voice through you. Every step of obedience will expand the territory under your care. You are no longer defined by what you survived. You are defined by what you carry. The mantle resting upon you is a testament that heaven trusts you. You've proven faithful with little. Now you will be entrusted with much. So walk forward with reverence and strength. Keep your heart soft, your spirit alert, and your focus on the one who called you. The mantle is not a reward for the past, it's an invitation to the future. And as you carry it, heaven will walk with you, confirming your every step with peace that cannot be shaken. Chosen one, can you feel it in the air? The atmosphere around you hums with glory. It's not imagination, it's manifestation. The very light that once flickered in your wilderness now burns steadily, and heaven is using it to draw others near. The glory that is rising from your obedience is not something external, it's radiating from within you. You have become the evidence that surrender leads to splendor. You may not notice it yet, but you are glowing differently. People who meet you can feel peace before you speak. They sense safety in your presence. That's not charisma, it's the afterglow of divine encounters. You've been in the secret place long enough that the residue of His presence has soaked into your very being. You carry a light that doesn't demand attention, but commands it. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 14, "The earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea." Chosen one. Glory is not about being seen, it's about being transparent enough for heaven's light to shine through. You are becoming like stained glass. What once felt like shattered pieces are now arranged by divine artistry to reflect light in colors no one has ever seen. When people look at you, they won't see perfection, they'll see redemption. They'll see what happens when brokenness meets divine brilliance. And yet, glory is not meant to stay contained. Light must travel. Fire must spread. The reflection of heaven within you becomes complete only when you let it reach others. You are not just a bearer of light, you are a mirror. The world around you is full of hearts waiting for that reflection to touch them. to remind them that they, too, were made to shine. That's why what we build here matters. When you like these messages, when you share them, when you comment from the heart, you're not feeding an algorithm, you're fueling a movement of light. You're creating ripples in the unseen. Each act of engagement is like striking a match in a dark forest, tiny, perhaps, but capable of starting a holy wildfire. When you share this message, think of it as planting a lantern along a road. Someone else must walk. Someone out there, tired, weary, scrolling through shadows, might find their hope again because you placed a light in their path. Your click might look small on the screen, but in heaven's view, it's a spark that says, "Let there be light." Amlu. And when you like this message, imagine it as adding another flame to a growing fire. Every heart that burns together for truth adds warmth to a world gone cold. The light multiplies, the warmth spreads, the darkness retreats. You are part of that miracle each time you engage with what carries heaven's voice. When you comment below, do it not as routine, but as reflection. Let your words be your worship. Say what stirred your soul. Share what changed your heart. Your voice might be the one that reassures someone else that they are not alone. Every comment, every echo of faith, builds a community that heaven smiles upon, a gathering of lights, learning to shine together. And when you subscribe, I don't see it as following a channel, see it as stepping into covenant with light. You're saying, I want to keep walking in revelation. I want to stay where heaven speaks. That simple choice keeps you connected to a flow of divine encouragement that strengthens you in moments when your own fire grows dim. Glory multiplies when it's shared. Think of sunlight on water, how one wave catches it, then passes it to another, until the entire ocean glitters. That's what your engagement does. It helps glory travel. It keeps light moving from one heart to another until the whole sea of souls reflects heaven's brightness. Chosen one. The glory rising from your obedience is meant to be contagious. When others witness your peace, they will hunger for the same. When they hear your story, faith will awaken in them. When they read your words, light will enter their darkness. That is how revival begins, not in pulpits, but in hearts like yours that dare to shine publicly what heaven birthed privately. So go ahead, let your story speak. Let your light stretch further. Like, share, comment, subscribe, not to be seen, but to help others see, because somewhere out there is another chosen one standing in the dark, waiting for a sign that the light still burns. You are that sign. You are that flame. You are living proof that glory rises from obedience and that heaven still speaks through ordinary vessels filled with extraordinary grace. Chosen one. The journey has shaped you into something extraordinary. What once felt like endless refining has now become your strength. You've been through battles that stripped away everything temporary so that only what is eternal could remain. You've been emptied not to be lost, but to be filled with purpose. And now, as this chapter unfolds, heaven places a crown not of gold or pride, but of purpose and peace upon your head. This crown cannot be seen with human eyes, but it can be felt in every step you take. It's not heavy like the crowns of kings. It rests lightly, as if it was always meant for you. It's the crown of completion, of alignment, of destiny, finally finding its full expression. You wear it not because you conquered others, but because you conquered yourself. your fears, your doubts, your need for control. You've learned that true victory isn't about standing on mountains, it's about kneeling before God in surrender. You have entered a new rhythm, no longer surviving, but reigning in peace. This is not the kind of peace that avoids conflict, it's the kind that remains unshaken in the middle of it. You now move with divine steadiness, guided not by panic, but by purpose. The storms may still come, but they can no longer uproot you. You've learned to bend, not break. As Jesus spoke in the Gospel of John, chapter 16, verse 33, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." That truth now defines your posture. You no longer fear the turbulence of life because you are anchored in the overcomer. Trouble doesn't intimidate you. It reminds you of the power that lives within you. You are not easily shaken because your peace is no longer circumstantial. It's covenantal. It flows from the relationship you have built in the secret place, from knowing that nothing can separate you from divine love. Peace has become your language now. You speak it without words. Your presence carries the quiet assurance that everything is under control. Even when the world seems chaotic, you've become like a tree planted by streams of living water, steady, nourished, and fruitful in every season. There was a time when you craved answers. Now you rest in mystery. You've learned that understanding isn't necessary for trust. The questions that once kept you awake no longer haunt you because peace has replaced the need for explanation. You no longer wrestle with why, but rest in who, the one who holds all things together. This crown of purpose also comes with clarity. You no longer chase after every opportunity or react to every noise. You move with intentionality, guided by discernment. You know what deserves your energy and what does not. That's the mark of maturity, when peace, not pressure, directs your path. You have also become a carrier of peace to others. People will be drawn to you, not because of what you have, but because of the calm that surrounds you. You'll notice how, even in conversations, anxiety begins to dissolve when you speak. That's not coincidence, it's calling. God has made you a vessel of stability in a world that trembles. You are becoming a safe place for weary hearts, a mirror that reflects heaven's calm to those still trapped in chaos. Chosen one. Don't underestimate the quiet power of peace. It can break more chains than shouting ever could. It can silence storms, disarm fear, and displace darkness. Peace is not passive. It's a weapon, a crown forged from trust. Every time you choose peace over panic, heaven celebrates. Every time you stay still when everything screams for reaction, you demonstrate dominion. The crown you wear is not a decoration, it's a declaration that grace wins, that love conquers, that surrender secures what striving never could. You've been tested in patience, refined in silence, and crowned with peace that cannot be taken. And this peace will not only protect you, it will propel you. From this moment forward, your life becomes a testimony of what it means to live from rest, not for rest. You will create from calmness, lead from stillness, love from security. This is your divine rhythm now. You don't need to chase what is already ordained. You simply walk, knowing that destiny will always meet you where peace resides. So wear your crown without fear. Let the light of purpose shine quietly from your countenance. Move with gentleness, but carry authority. Speak softly, but let heaven echo through your tone. You are crowned not only with calling, but with calm. You are equipped not only with gifts, but with grace. Chosen one, your days of striving are over. You are stepping into a kingdom rhythm where peace leads, purpose follows, and favor flows naturally. The war within has ended. The reign of rest has begun. Chosen one, take a deep breath. You've reached the summit of this journey, the place where clarity meets completion. The storms have passed. The wilderness has thinned. And now the horizon stretches wide before you. Everything that once confused you begins to make sense in the soft light of divine understanding. Heaven does not rush endings, it seals them with peace. That is where you are now, not in conclusion, but in confirmation. You have walked through shadows and learned that even darkness can be a teacher. You've lost things you thought you needed, only to find that what remained was what mattered most. You've tasted both silence and song, and somehow both have shaped your faith. Every moment, from triumph to trial, has carried you to this sacred point where you finally realize that favor is not just something upon you, it is something within you. The ancient promise still speaks through the words written in the book of Numbers, chapter 6, verses 24 to 26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Those words are not a wish, they are a decree. Heaven itself leans over your life with that benediction. Blessing, protection, grace, and peace. These are not occasional gifts, they are now your atmosphere. The Lord himself has turned his face toward you, and once his gaze rests upon a soul, nothing can remove that light. Chosen one, you are sealed in that light. Every shadow that once haunted you is dissolving in it. The doubts that whispered of defeat have gone silent, unable to speak against what grace has established. You stand now as one confirmed, no longer striving to prove, no longer pleading to be chosen, but simply being who heaven already declared you to be. This is what divine favor looks like in its fullness: stability of spirit, quiet confidence, unshakable hope. You no longer chase signs because you've become one. Your peace is the proof of your purpose. You are a reflection of divine constancy in a world that shifts like sand. Where others are anxious, you are anchored. Where others see endings, you see evolution. In this place of sealing, God begins to weave everything together: the laughter and the pain, the waiting and the winning, the loss and the learning, into a single tapestry of glory. From this side, the threads that once looked tangled now form an image of beauty. You see how every event served to align you, how every wound taught you wisdom, how every pause protected your purity. Beloved, heaven's seal over your life is not fragile. It cannot be broken by criticism, undone by circumstance, or stolen by fear. You are hidden within divine favor, like a gem encased in light. The hand that wrote your story does not erase, it perfects. You are living inside the completion of a promise that began before time itself. And from this sealing comes assignment. The light that surrounds you now must flow through you. The peace you have received must now become your presence in the world. Wherever you go, you will carry the scent of heaven, calming storms, mending hearts, reminding the weary that grace still speaks. You will not need to announce who you are. Creation will recognize the anointing in your steps. Do not fear what comes next. The seal of favor does not mean life will be without storms. It means you will no longer be moved by them. You have learned that peace is not found in perfect conditions, but in perfect communion. You've become a dwelling place of God's stillness. That is the highest favor, to be so filled with His presence that the world cannot disturb your foundation. Chosen one. Rest in this truth. You are sealed. Not sidelined. You are established. Not exhausted. The journey that began in uncertainty now ends in unwavering light. The heavens have witnessed your perseverance. The angels have recorded your obedience. And the Father Himself now crowns your faithfulness with peace that cannot fade. As you step forward, remember this: you carry heaven's signature. Everywhere you go, favor precedes you. Grace surrounds you, and peace follows behind. You are a living testament that obedience opens doors. Endurance invite glory, and surrender secure destiny. You have done the right thing. You have remained steadfast. And now, you stand radiant beneath the gaze of the One who chose you from the beginning. His favor rests, not temporarily, but eternally. You are sealed in the light of His love, chosen, favored, unstoppable, chosen one. Take a moment and breathe in what has been spoken over you. You've journeyed through revelation, refinement, and restoration. Every word written here was not just story, it was prophecy unfolding inside you. You are no longer waiting to be chosen. You are walking as one marked by divine favor. The same grace that carried you through will now carry you forward. If these words have met you where you are, if something in your spirit whispered, "This was for me," then let heaven see your agreement. Like this message as a simple act of gratitude, a way of saying, "I receive what you've spoken. Lord," share it, not for recognition, but as an offering of light. Somewhere, someone is scrolling through shadows, searching for the very hope you just found. Comment below what this journey has stirred within you, your peace, your prayer, your praise. Every word you leave behind becomes a seed of faith for another chosen one. And subscribe, not as a routine, but as a declaration. I want to stay connected to the flow of truth and transformation. Carry this light boldly. Share it freely. Walk in favor permanently.